I usually go to the mysterious monastery to visit my uncle. Our family is a strict Christian family, and my uncle works in the monastery as a monk. At first, they wanted to force me to study in a Christian school, but I convinced them to send me to a public school. As thou might desire shall it be, but thou shalt accept God as thy primary teacher, said my father. I accepted. I was forced to visit my uncle every Sunday. I was always forced to pray at his monastery when I used to visit him. This village is extremely religious. The young men here love Jesus more than their fathers. Though the traditions of ancient times before Christianity are unknown to most. The majority of the villagers don't care for them anymore. The monastery is seen as a symbol of peace. However, the monastery has a dark and horrid secret, and I can no longer live with the information. The discovery of the horrible night has haunted me day and night, and I cannot stand it anymore. It all started in the year 2015, on the 6th of August, on a Thursday night. I have a postdoc in mining engineering, which means that I can design and develop mines. I wanted to research the hill where the monastery was because that part of our town has been left untouched for thousands of years. Gold, silver, and more precious metals had already been discovered near that area. I assumed that it could have a lot of natural resources as well, which could allow me to move out of this village. I started digging at 10 p.m. because most of the folks would be asleep by then. I used a device to scan the soil for metals. As I was digging deeper and deeper, I started to get a weird sense of dread, as if I shouldn't be doing this. It must surely be all the teachings about God and how monasteries are holy and sacred, I thought. I kept digging for about an hour when I suddenly saw a metallic object. As I began to analyze it, I soon realized that it was a trapdoor. I dusted the trapdoor off, and I opened it. Immediately, a pack of bats stormed out. I felt the souls of the dead storm out with the bats. I was in shock. That is why I did not scream. I was quite lucky because I could have awakened the nearby villagers. I saw a stairway within the trapdoor under moonlight, and I walked down the stairs. It was very dark there, but I managed to guide myself through by holding onto the walls. But a piece of the stair broke off as I was walking, and I was about to fall. But I managed to hold on to my balance. It sounded like a brick, and it kept rolling down the stairs. I heard its sound get quieter and quieter as it rolled further down, which was when I realized that there was still a long way to go until I would make it down the stairs. I felt fear. as I was walking down the stairs, and it got progressively worse. But my curiosity overcame my fear. It took 2 hours to get down. There, I found a seemingly empty open flat space, and the walls were completely smooth in texture, which proved to me that they were man-made. The room was too dark to see, so I guided myself through the room by holding on to the wall. I soon came into a different room, which was sparsely lit. It was like a dank cave, but all the walls were perfectly smooth. There, I saw paintings of monstrous creatures, indescribable with words. They were scaly, and they appeared to have the body structure of humans. They didn't look like humans. There was a subtle difference, which I can't describe. I found them quite frightening and even repulsive. The pictures portrayed these creatures hunting in packs. The paintings were dusty, and they appeared to be extremely old, older than Babylon, older than ancient Egypt, and even older than the hunters and gatherers. It amazed me that such complex drawings could be painted in the time of hunters and gatherers, especially because our best sources from that time are cave paintings. Yet these paintings are better than any I have ever seen. As I paid closer attention to the paintings, I saw the creatures brutally killing dinosaurs and even the early humans. That is impossible because there were no humans around during the times of dinosaurs, and there were certainly none until the 17th century with painting skills such as this. I concluded that these paintings were modern paintings that were laid there by kids to scare the elderly. That wouldn't be plausible because the cave itself was extremely old, and the kids wouldn't have the skills to discover the cave. I started to get a weird sense of dread, so I decided to go back up through the stairway. By the time I was back to the surface, I realized that it was 2 a.m. I decided to explore inside the monastery without my uncle for the first time. Inside, I found a mysterious map which was on display in its small library. Time had treated the map horribly. The map was made of parchment. It was dusty, brown, rotten, and torn. It had mysterious, incomprehensible runes, and I suddenly realized that pieces of the map were scattered across the library. They were probably seen as old maps of the monastery, but they weren't. They were older than the monastery. As old as the paintings, I thought. I came down the stairway again, and it took hours before I reached the cave. When I reached the cave, I realized that the map was identical to the cave. And that was when I made a shocking discovery that I wish I never made. To my surprise, I managed to flick the lights on. If the cave is as old as I thought, then there shouldn't be lights that can be flicked on and off. unless there was a very advanced form of life that inhabited the cave. Soon I discovered new rooms with advanced technology, rooms with advanced art, and rooms with books. The books were in the same language as the map, and they had the same runes as the map. The books were thousands of pages long, and I wondered how much money I could make for discovering them. As I wandered further, not knowing where I was going, almost as if I was wandering in a circle for hours, trying to find new rooms, I came to find one last room. This time the scrolls were in Latin. I was forced to learn some Latin as a teenager, so I could read the Vulgate. I read the scrolls. They depicted an ancient civilization living in what was once a city. It had records of great technology, not even imaginable to the human mind today. Technology that would take humans thousands of years to even think of. Its contents drove me to insanity, and it traumatized me. My ancestors worshipped the creatures in the painting. They made this building as a monastery to worship the great Shargar, who I assumed was their deity. My ancestors even mated with these creatures. That means that I am descended from the creatures depicted in the paintings. I went mad. I stayed down there, trying to deny what I discovered, waiting until I had enough energy to get up, and thinking of different explanations. I managed to make it back up the stairway after sitting there for an hour or two. But I was devastated, and the discovery ruined me. I realized at that moment that my fate was sealed from birth. I couldn't continue living after the discovery, knowing that I was a reptile, and being aware that I could never escape the horrid creatures, for they were in my blood. I have moved to a deserted cottage, miles away from my village. I suffer from paranoia. I get flashbacks whenever I see the village. A lot has changed since the time that I made my discovery. I have realized that the Bible wouldn't support my discovery, which is why I am no longer Christian. I have researched other monasteries in the area. I have found some proof that they were also descendants of the creatures I have named Magna Lacertes, and I have realized that the Magna Lacertes are still alive because there were slews of animal deaths. Sheep have been found dead across local farms, and not much remained of the sheep after they were found. All that was left of them were their bones. Witnesses described seeing scaly humanoid figures. I can never go back to the village or my family. I can never know who is a Magna Lacertes and who isn't. By the time that you'll be reading this, it'll be too late, because I will end my life after I am done writing this. I can hear them approaching. I hear loud steps on the stairs. They can sense where I am. I am a part of their pack, which is why they will always know where I am. There is no escaping them. They will never let me tell their secret. My gun is loaded. When they enter this room, they will find me dead. They come from the monastery, the horrid and harrowing monastery on the hill.